Alright guys, so I was going to try and do just a quick shot of the fish room here. We got the 240, 55, 55, 150, and a 100 up here that I'm going to replace with a 150, and then I'm going to put a 240 in here tomorrow. So I have a 240 and a 150. But what I wanted to show was the water change system that I got set up, which is just a 275 gallon container. It had glycerin in it, or vegetable oil, and inside, let's see, externally I have a Jabo 30,000. It's about 8,000 gallon an hour pump. So this is the drain pump, and I have another pump just like this down in the hole there. You can see it. So that's the fill pump. So if we follow the fill pump, I have a valve. Every station's valve. So you have the fill pump going to this valve, and then it goes to every tank. This is the 240 over here. You can see the line just runs around and into the 240 over here. So the fill pump comes up, and then this is actually the drain pump valve here. So they're all attached to the main hub. So like say if I'm going to fill the 240, I open this valve and open that valve, and it fills the 240. Or say I'm going to drain the 240, I still open the fill valve, and I open the 240 valve and turn the fill pump on, and then I open the drain valve and it primes it, so that I make sure my drain pump is primed, and then I'll turn the drain pump on, turn the fill pump off, and shut the fill off, and now it's sucking out of the 240 as opposed to blowing in. And then when I'm done, I turn the fill pump on, turn the drain pump off, close it, and then it fills from the container. The container, I have hot and cold water that comes in, and the cold water runs here off of my filters that come in. So the water comes in for the tap and goes through a sediment and dual carbon, and then if I want, I can run RO. It runs through the RO the other side if I want it to, but I'm not running RO water here. I haven't had the need, but I did at my old house and I set it up just in case I want to use it. So the cold water runs through the filters, and then it goes off to the RO here. And so I have them screwed into the top of the drum so the hoses don't whip around. So I got cold, and then I can add hot water during the winter to keep things, to get the temperature right. You know, I want to run water in the tanks at about 80 degrees. And then I have a temperature gauge down in the tank so I can get the water to the right temperature. So again, fill and drain. And then I just have them on switches here. The fill pump, you can hear it. Drain pump. And again, fill and drain on the main hub. And then everything just comes off the main hub, which is the 240s here. Then this one goes up. And these are the tanks in the house. There's 3 tanks on this, my 180, 125, and 135. And each tank has a valve at the tank. So I can either do all the tanks if I want. I open them all up and I can drain and fill all 3 of those tanks. Drains in about 45 minutes and fills in about half an hour, but that's 3 tanks that are 180, 125, 135, whatever the math is. It's a lot. It's about 400 gallons, I guess. Or I can just do one at a time. Or at the tanks, I'll take you in and show you. At the tanks, it has a valve, and then it has a T where there's a dipstick that goes into the tank for water changes, and then it steps over, and there's another valve with just a hose connector, and I can vacuum each tank if I want. And then the next one here is attached to a hose, so that I can vacuum all the stuff in the garage. So I have a hose, runs over here, 25-foot hose, and I was doing manual. I was just sticking this in for water changes, sticking it in all the tanks. But now that I'm getting the tank set, I'll be using this just for gravel vacuum. So what I did was made another dump into the main hub with a valve that runs to this control panel, and this is going to control each one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tanks that are going to be on this rack. So like up here, for example, this just goes up, over, and down into the 40. And so I just got a oh, it's done so well you can't even see it. But there is a drain pipe in there. I painted them black so they're kind of hard to see against the black background. But you can see it runs down into the 40, and then every tank is the same way. So I have the 40 coming off here, and it's valved, so either I can drain it or not, or I can run, if I just open that valve, it's just running the 40 and the rest of these are all closed. Or I can open all these and drain them all at once. So we have the 40, right? And then the next one is down to the 55. It just runs and down into the 55. This is the next 55. This will be the 240 sitting here, and then the two 150s down at the end of the racks. And I just ran them. PEX is pretty forgiving, you know, you can just run it kind of squirrely if you want. And then I'm running them like here. I know I'm just going straight from here, so I just turned it into PVC, went and underneath, and then just strapped it. I know it's hard to see because it's black, but and then it runs down into the tank, and you can see the fill. And I painted them all with Krylon Fusion, and I'm gonna put little strainers right there that go over the end so nobody gets sucked in or sucked against it. But yeah, it should make water change in all these tanks. I would not be able to keep all this stuff without this thing. It would just kill me. But yeah, we'll get a peek at this doe here while we're at it, because he's looking pretty crazy these days. He was my second choice male doe, but this guy's just off the chain right now. They got a little batch of fry and then another batch of eggs going here. But yeah, he's just super cool looking. Thanks Billy Jack Camfield. If I do let this pair go, it'll beat at Billy Jack. I think he wants them, but I think I'm gonna hold on to him. And I'll have a 150 with a pair here with light substrate, and then I'm gonna put a 150 here with dark substrate and see the difference between the two. I have a 240 there, 240 here, and then yeah, the tank's in the house. So let's see, what am I forgetting? I know I'm gonna forget as soon as I remember, as soon as I turn the video off. But yeah, that's it. I mean, I know it looks complicated and crazy, but it's pretty simple. You know, it's just Legos. This stuff pretty much crimps together, snaps together. A few fittings that are glued and screwed, but most of them are these PEX that, you know, it's just a crimp tool. You crimp it all together, and haven't had any leaks. You know, none of this stuff is under pressure except when it runs, and then it's not very much pressure because it's open-ended. But yeah, I think I can do water changes on all 10 tanks in a couple hours, maybe 2 hours. You know, this thing moves a lot of water real quickly, and we're talking a couple hours of turning a valve, turning a switch, and then smoking a cigarette or looking at Facebook, and then when they're done, turn a valve, flip a switch, and fill them back up. But yeah, it's pretty cool. I've had a lot of fun putting it together. I'll go in here and look at the setup on the 135. That's let's see. So these are actually, I ran them all through the attic and then punched them through the drywall. But you can see at each tank, this is, you know, it comes out of the wall here, and then I teed it off for the fill and drain, and it's valved here, and it goes down into the tank. I didn't paint these ones black. I'm gonna have to pull them off and paint them black. And then it tees off to a valve and just a hose bib. And I have a hose at each tank rolled up in there. And then so I can gravel back each one. So yeah, that's it. These guys are all spooked now because I just did that. So yeah, that's the water change system. Some guys have been asking, so I just thought I'd throw it up there and show you. I think I got everything in there. You know, it's just a container with 2 pumps and then pipes and valves, and it's working pretty awesome. You know. So that's it. Thanks for watching.